Hey guys, it's been a while since I last made a video featuring my voice, so here we are. And today, let's talk about something. Um, well, let me first of all mention that you might notice that I've become a lot more positive in the past few days, and that's because now I am very certain that I'll be able to live independently now, which is amazing. And I also have secure sources of money. I am currently in game development and in the development of an object show whose music you can already start to see a bit on my channel. First of all, the 3 videos on different versions of Fab's magnum opus, and also the video Nihon, which, yes, it's the video with the Japanese title. And actually, funnily enough, someone commented that it was a Brazilian script that's pretty much inaccurate, but I mean, I won't blame anyone who doesn't recognize kanji, so that's fine by me. But anyways, let's discuss something serious, but in a positive tone, and in a tone of, humor, sarcasm, and just absurdity. Yeah, that's right. We're going to talk about society once more. So, um, I have noticed in my life that one of the major problems in communication and in the way that decisions are made and in the way we think is that we make people suffer for already suffering. And you might be wondering, wait, what? That would be stupid. But let me tell you, this is exactly what we're doing. And let me just give you an example. So let's just say someone got themselves into an accident and they are brought to the hospital. And by the way, this did happen to me. I had a in May 2024, which was in the beginnings of my YouTube channel, in the far and low quality beginnings, I had a mental breakdown and I had to be brought to the hospital. And did you know what my parents told me when they arrived to visit me? They told me I should have just been more careful, and that it was my fault because I didn't work hard to make my body strong, and also that my mind was weakened by my lack of effort into working hard on myself, in the sense of discipline, force, the iron fist, which I've explained before on a TAMP video. But put briefly, the iron fist, when I say iron fist, I refer to a kind of parenting style where where instead of motivating children to do something, you force them to do it and set it as a condition for the children to be okay in the parents' eyes. That's what I mean by the iron fist. It's punishment and reward. But in a way that the reward is also not very rewarding, because usually the punishments are set higher than the rewards. And but anyway, that's just one example of many, many, many. Let's also take a look at disabled people. There was a long, long time where disabled people were blamed for being disabled and that they should just deal with the world and with its inaccessibility. And I mean, obviously, this is ridiculous. We know this these days, at least I hope so. But there was a time where people like this were actually blamed for it. It's the same thing, that's also the same thing for, say, what I'm going to say might sound extremely controversial at first, but I will just state facts. So, first of all, the other example I'm going to take is genders, and more specifically, let's talk about why biologically female people, because I want to be very careful with my wording, actually have a harder time, like biologically speaking. One, menstruation, and two, getting a child. So, but then remember that there was a huge time in world history where women were in disadvantage simply because they were women, which makes these days makes no sense, and unfortunately is still the case in a lot of places across the world. For instance, in Germany, women still tend to be paid less than men given the same job and qualification, which is which I can understand. But anyways, what I just want to say is that here again, we have this making people suffer for already suffering. And I mean, that the fact that they have a biologically harder time is not necessarily the reason for this disadvantage they had for so long in the history, and in some areas of the world they still have. I'm thinking of the Middle East, for example, that there this is especially true, but it's just for illustration purposes to show what this could look like, what I'm describing. And what I'm describing is essentially victim blaming. So this victim blaming is comes from the fact that instead of trying to understand what people are going through, we simply give them a label and call our job done. And that is the lazy way of doing it. And let me tell you something. We should not diagnose, but understand. This is my approach to psychology, to society, to everything. This is my approach in general. Try to understand people. Because even people who are labeled similarly, for instance, two people with Asperger's, if you took me and someone else with Asperger's, you can't really compare that, because among the neurodivergent community, there is this phrase that if you know one and only one. This is true for all people, by the way, and in fact, I don't really even like the terms neurodiverse and neurotypical, because it assumes that there exists some kind of normal for the brain, which is not true. What is considered to be neurotypical is an arbitrary choice. And also trying to categorize people like this undermines the complexity that of people that comes with each one's individuality, which is why I really dislike these terms. However, I've still used them in this case to clarify what I mean, because most people still think in these terms. But anyways, that is a huge problem. Let's also take another example, and that will be urban planning. So let's just think about for a second. What did humans do by nature in the early stages? Walk, right? And the development of cars is only very, very recent as about 100 years, is slightly bit more. And so why is the car suddenly king? Well, because there's been a lot of marketing around blaming pedestrians and cyclists for being dangerous for the car drivers, even though it was the car drivers that were new to the streets. And this is if you look into any urbanist channel, let's say, I don't know, not just bikes, RM Transit, or even the channel called Adam Something, which also talks about urbanism, and also with a lot of dark humor and in a very satirical way. I can recommend that. You'll have a great time with him. There's just this. You will notice that they all talk about this. They all talk about this. And I'm addressing this example as well because I personally have never had a car. My family never did, and we didn't need to. It's not because we were poor or anything. It's just because I live in Germany, and in Germany it's totally possible to simply use public transit to get anywhere. And if you couldn't for some reason, just, I guess you share a car with someone else, I guess. But then you know that there's a big hole in the infrastructure. And you might be wondering, for those of you who are new to urbanism, you might be wondering, well, why do I hate cars so much? And I know so many channels have talked about this, but the short version is cars are space inefficient. And I mean, let me just illustrate it by using a crossing. What happens when a traffic light turns from red to green? Or in Japan, it's to blue, actually, which is just a cultural thing. But let's not digress. Basically, one car starts, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next, and only then the next. And if you really think about it, all of them started at the same time, they would not collide because their distances would stay identical. However, since humans have a non-zero reaction time, the distance between cars caused by stopping and continuing to drive, there's like a lot of space in between that is just left and ends up being unused. And so that is very, very inefficient. And this is where instead of having many smaller vehicles, you should have a few large vehicles. And what is a large vehicle? A bus, a tram, a train. I mean, it can't be more obvious than that. Oh, and metros. Let's not forget about the metros. You have a space. You deserve to be mentioned too. So let me just go back to the abstract topic of making people suffer for the suffering. It makes no sense. And you might be wondering, where's the suffering in the urbanism example? Well, the pedestrians and cyclists and stuff. Because ultimately, the air gets worse and there's like pollution. There is a lot of noise pollution. These vehicles are just big compared to someone who's just walking or cycling. And don't even get me started on car fatalities. Don't even get me started. That is a whole other topic. And let's be real. Wouldn't it be nice if everything you needed was close to you? Wouldn't that just be nice? You could just walk out and walk regularly and have your body in motion. As you go somewhere you need to go, then you go back and are happily in your house. And wouldn't that be nice? I mean, this way you keep yourself physically healthy simply by walking, because you can walk for everything. And I mean, that's great. And as soon as we have cars, people are discouraged to do that, and ultimately they are the ones they are also the ones paying for it due to physical health and also the other factors I've mentioned. But more importantly, the people who do still want to walk and cycle have less space and also must deal with the cars next to them. And you might be thinking, well, why doesn't just, I don't know, why doesn't just everyone drive? And I must be there must be saying, no, impossible, absolutely not possible. This is not done, because as I said, it's inefficient. Next topic. So, another great example would be, say, someone, a student at school has a bad day and is writing an exam, and then they have they don't have grades, they don't have such good grades, but then they're told to just study harder. Yeah, that doesn't make sense because that person had a bad day. This can happen, and I mean, it's a basic example isn't too great. You know what? Let me retry. So, again, a school setting. Let's just say, more generally speaking, people are graded. So basically, you're saying, yeah, you will only ever amount to this much, or to this much, or to this much, and that is very demotivating for people to go beyond their horizon because they're afraid that they are too bad at it. But we all start at zero, and this is where the education system fails. This is single good reason to get rid of grades, but also because they encourage the belief that the reason to learn is to perform. No, we don't learn to perform. We learn for the fun of it, for the sake of it, because we are interested in it. But grades ruin this completely. And I've seen this. I've seen this in myself for many, many years. I remember I was just like this obedient white sheep who was just, sitting there and always doing as other people told me to. And I became someone who obeyed even when it would hurt me. I ended up becoming a people pleaser for many years, ongoing ever since I started to care about grades, which was when my parents told me that if I didn't have the good grades, then I would be less valuable, A, which is a huge mistake on their end, and B, they also said that otherwise they would, otherwise I was just not good, and that basically I have to show my dominance, show that I'm intelligent and stuff like that. Basically, I had to prove myself in front of other people. That was the message they gave off. But that message is very misleading and toxic and dangerous and unhealthy and whatnot. Because no one has to prove themselves. Just do what you do best, do what you enjoy doing, and just let people live. As simple as that. I mean, and also, if you want to have good grades at everything because otherwise you're unhappy with yourself or you just want to perform, sorry, no one can do everything. This is why we have a society. This is why some people are good at this and some people are good at that, and we complement each other in a society. What grades also reinforce is that you as an individual, you as one individual person, have to be good at everything, which is false, straight up false. I, for instance, am absolutely terrible at sports. Terrible. My motorics are terrible, my coordination, and I am not particularly strong or fast or anything. The only thing that really carries me in sports is strategy and technique. But even that cannot make me as talented in sports as people who are simply better built bodies. And I mean, while I can work on my body, certainly it will only work to a certain degree, because yes, I have motoric issues, I have coordination issues, and that's not going to go away anytime soon. And it's not like I didn't try, because I suffer from it. And if you said, yeah, just try better, just try harder, then you are again doing this victim blaming, this making me suffer for this suffering, judging me for being the one in pain, which makes no sense, because it's not like I wanted to be in this situation. And this again shows just how deeply rooted this mindset is in people, and also the reason I have to make such a long video for this single thing, which honestly, we live in the 21st century. I'm disappointed, and I just hope that that will improve, that I have that makes this video helps making people aware of this phenomenon, because it is very widespread, it's everywhere, and many issues stem from this. And the more you think about it, the more you realize this. Another example is economics, like finances. Yeah, when the rich people say the poor people should just work harder, this is a phenomenon in the United States very, very often. This is the narrative there. The narrative. And well, I'm thinking like these they don't have a second thought here. Do you think that poor people aren't trying to not be poor? They are suffering from being poor, yeah? So why are you now judging them for being poor? And also, what do you know about it? You're rich. You have nothing to say. That's also true. So this is another example. And by the way, if you are from the US and you're not convinced by this, then yeah, I don't know who could. And also, I want to emphasize that this is just one of many issues that we have. This is a huge issue, and in fact, all issues we have in this world, in this society, in humanity in general, such as renewability, like environment, for instance, the way we treat each other, the systems we have, institutions, political systems, and so on and so forth, they all come down to no more than 3 core issues, which I will reveal in the next video, since honestly, I don't feel like continuing this one. So, see you, and stay tuned to get rid of this cliffhanger. Ha ha ha.